Hey guys, how's it going? We are back for another Q&A and I'm a little sad because we're having to do it inside today. You can see it is dark out there and it is gloomy. Did I point the wrong way? It is dark out there and it is rainy. We are actually set for, I think our 10-day forecast is nothing but rain. So all the videos that you guys are actually about to see after this one have all been pre-recorded because I knew that we were either going to be stuck inside, only doing inside videos for the next 10 days, or we were going to not have any videos. So I was like, okay, we're going to pre-record everything. So everything that you guys see this coming week is going to be, you're like, Robbie, isn't it supposed to be raining? Yes, it is raining, but the videos were filmed before the rain came because I knew it was coming. So just a heads up on that. If you're local and you're like, why does your weather look better than mine? It's a lie. So let's get into it. Last week we had done last week's Q&A, which was why didn't I call before we dug? And then shopping for Hellebore's winter interest, save money with bare root ornamental trees, project update, and a little winter planting, and then lots of progress on the backyard overhaul. So it was a very eventful week, which was really exciting. And while filming all those videos, I was able to film a few other videos. So we're actually going to leave after I'm done filming this one. We're going to go to Sacramento and we're going to go do a little plant shopping and antique shopping. And so you guys will see that also. Those are my rainy day videos. So let's get into it. The first video was why didn't I call before we dug? And why are the trees different sizes? The first question on that video was from Cat Journey, and they had said, anyone know what's growing on the wall behind him? Creeping fig, stunning. And that was last week's Q&A where I had actually done it outside with the fence behind us and on our espalier. And that is a honeysuckle espalier. It was just a basic honeysuckle that we got from Home Depot. Nothing super fancy. I think it was like $12 a plant or something like that, $9.99 a plant. And the next question on that video is from Janet, and she had said, what about 3 Indian hawthorn trees against the naked fence? Evergreen sold at Green Acre, 15-gallon, just over $100. Would have a beautiful canopy over the fence. Sadie must be Brent's dog. Hides. Likes to be left alone. Much love to both of you, Janet. I actually was looking at a couple of Indian hawthorns, and they're just, I do think they're really pretty, but they get used everywhere here in parking lots, and so it's kind of a parking lot plant, which is, I mean, they're really pretty though. I don't know. We're gonna go to Green Acres after this, so you guys will see that, I think, on Friday, and we'll see what I buy. The next question on that video is from Jen, and she had said, your area where you had mentioned maybe dining sitting area, if that's what you make it into, have you thought about covering that area because of how hot it gets? I thought about it, but I really want to put a bunch of trees in there. And with the willow tree above it, I'm not sure how that would do with it. So I'm thinking what we'll do is I'll plant some type of tree on the west side of it. So that way that provides some afternoon shade. And then I'll get a table that has an umbrella hole so we can always throw up an umbrella if needed. I just don't think that I think a pergola or something there would just be too big and too much of a statement piece. Where I really want like the plants to shine in that area. So if I did something, it would have to be something that would be like masked by plants, if that makes sense. And the last question on that video is from Stacy, and she had said, hi Robbie, is the drone pilot license something just in California? It is not just in California. It is something that like throughout the US, if you get a drone, you can just fly it. Like if you guys wanted to just fly a drone, you can just fly one. But the second it becomes a commercial thing where I make money off of YouTube videos, I then have to have a pilot's license because I'm doing it commercially. So I'm flying the drone commercially, which is so dumb. So I'd have to get a pilot license to be able to do that. And it is quite expensive and it is a lengthy process. I was actually talking to a client about that, and he said that he's in the process of doing it. And he said like half the questions that you like take on the test are basically like questions that legit pilots actually have to like take, because you have to know all of these things. You have to know how far up in the air you can go and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, that is insane. So I really want to get a drone and I would really like to fly one. And I see people flying them all the time and I know they don't have pilot license and they're using them in YouTube videos. And I'm like, I just know my luck, and my luck would be that I would get in trouble. The next video that we did was shopping for Hellebore's winter interest. You have to add, and I love Hellebore. I would love to add some more Hellebore to the garden. I think they're so, so gorgeous. I really want to find some that are more upturned rather than ones like the ones that I got that all just kind of face down. I just think they're so pretty. First question on that video is from MSV, and they had said, I love Hellebore, I just don't know how to take care of them. We are so hot and humid in Texas that it's difficult to know how much I should water it or not water it. You have heat, but no humidity, so do you have any tips? I did have it in full shade, but it didn't make it. We do water ours pretty often. I find that if they are in the sun, they definitely wilt and they get very upset with us. So the ones that we do have that are in the shade, they're on irrigation and they'll get plenty enough water. Yeah, they do kind of require a decent amount of water, I would say. And in Texas, I mean, you guys get just as hot as we get. I know where my mom is at in Texas. It is hot and humid. I told her I'll never visit her in the summer ever again because it's so humid there. I mean, maybe you just chose the wrong spot for it, and that just happens with plants. I would say try again. Don't buy a Hellebore that's $25, $30. Buy a Hellebore that's $15 if you can find them, and try again in another location until you kind of just find somewhere that works or doesn't work. Like I said, I've got the one up front, and the one that's up front that I should have transplanted that I didn't transplant. It wilts, and I have to throw water on it. With our irrigation that's going, I have to throw water extra every single day on it. So I think a lot of plants are just kind of trial and error in the garden. The next question on that video is from Newt, and they had said, what were all the roots from where you dug for your Hellebore placement? Would love to put in some Hellebore, yet it would be nice to find varieties that have their cute little faces pointing up. Like I said, I want to find the ones that have their faces pointing up, or at least like straight out. I'm not talking like straight up. I mean, it would just be nice if there was just some that were straight out that I could find. They're just really hard to find. So I guess we're all on the hunt for the same ones. And then those roots, they were from the mahogany splendor hibiscus that we had there over the summertime. I just cut the plant off at the base and I left the roots in the ground rather than digging it out. And then when I decided to plant something, then I dug the roots out. The next question on that video is from Carla, and she had said, Hellebore is beautiful. I have a question about lamb's ear that was close by. It looks like mine, struggling through the cold in 9B. Will you trim yours down to the ground? Not exactly sure what to do. Thanks. So pretty much every year, the thing, it dies back quite a bit, and I'll leave kind of some mass to it. It looks really rough right now, and that is totally normal for winter time. That's what it looks like every single year. And what you can do is you can come in and you can pull off, if you're in zone 9 like I am, where we're really not going to get too cold, maybe a couple nights that are in the 30s. I usually will come in and I'll clean up all of the like dead foliar growth that's on it. And then this springtime, it'll like revitalize and it really bounces back, no problem. But it does look rough in the wintertime, as most things do. So what I usually do is I come through, I did it about a month ago. I came through and I cleaned up all of the dead growth, because if I wait until springtime, it turns into this like sludgy, gross mess. Things just don't break down here fast enough. And so by springtime, when everything's coming to life, the plant matter is still there and it's just sludgy and disgusting. So if you're in the same zone as I am, I would definitely go ahead and clean it up now if you can get in there, if it's not, you know, pouring down rain like it is here. The next question on that video is from Marsha, and she had said, Hi Robbie, loved this episode. I'm going to try Hellebores this season. Question, is it okay to cut the Hellebore to the ground after they are all done blooming, or should I keep the foliage all summer? You definitely want to keep the foliar growth all summer long. You want to cut it back usually about this time. When you start to see some new growth coming up, that's when you cut off all of the old leaves that are on it. You want to leave those leaves all summer long, because that's how it's going to take down as much nutrients during the growing season to be able to give you a huge show during the springtime. The next question on that video is from Rose Lover Ranch, and they had said, I will be adding Hellebores this weekend only because of your influence. How do you think they will do under pine trees in zone 9? I mean, if you're in zone 9, they should do fine, just like I am. Just give them that shade if you're hot like I get. Under pine trees, I mean, they really don't love fertilizer. So, I mean, usually under pine trees is a little bit more of an acidic soil. And I'm gonna assume if you are having pine trees, you probably have clay soil. So they really don't love to sit in a ton of water. So maybe do something to help with that. The acidity, they should be fine with that. Just make sure they're not getting too much sun, and I mean, personally, I don't really know a whole lot about pine trees. I grew up in the pine trees. I grew up in the mountains under the pines, but I hated it. And we have one pine tree and it just makes such a mess for me. They really should do totally fine under pine trees though. Just make sure that they're getting plenty enough water because pine trees are gonna suck up a lot of water around them. And if you're a little bit worried about it, you can definitely go in with some lime to help with the acidity of the soil so it's not so acidic on the plant. They'll be fine in it, but they prefer a more neutral to a more alkaline soil. The next question on that video is from Judy McCarrow, and she had said, is the ball being naughty and needing a timeout? I just love Judy. You know, Freya throws her balls places and she knows she's not allowed to go. She's not supposed to like touch certain things, and she's really, really smart about it. And her ball rolled under the cage and she decided not to get it out because she knew that if the cage knocked over, and she wouldn't get in trouble. But she thinks she would get in trouble because she's not allowed to go in the flower beds, and she's really good about that. And that cage is in a flower bed. So she left it. I did get it out after that video. I didn't even notice it until we went to go edit that video. And the last question on that video is from My Yard of Flowers, and they had said, question, do you have any citrus tree in your yard? We have a lemon tree in the yard, and I think it was from my grandparents, either the lemon or the lime tree. We had a lemon and a lime, and one of them died. And my grandparents got me one of them and I bought the other one. And I don't remember which one we actually have. I think it's the lemon tree that was what we have on the property. And it's just in a terracotta container. My next door neighbors that are right next door to us, they have a lemon tree and a orange tree. And so they usually just toss a whole bunch of lemons and oranges to the fence. And they're like, here you go. So we really don't have a need for it, but I do love having a tree, my own citrus tree on the property. But my next door neighbors, they have one that's, how tall is that tree? Probably about 15 feet tall, the lemon tree and the orange tree. It's really cool. The next video that we did was save money with bare root ornamental trees, what you need to know. And we did that with Kate over at the Rock Garden. And if you haven't had a chance, go over there because their trees are starting to break dormancy. And once they've really started to break dormancy, they need to get them potted up. So if you're wanting bare root season is coming to an end here, which is insane. The first question on that video is from a friend, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm saying a friend. How do you plant European white birches in zone 9 when they are heat tolerant zones 7 through 4? So they are heat tolerant zones 7 through 4, but they are sunset zones 1 through 24. And it's actually like 1 through, I think it's like 11, and then zones like 13 through 24. So if you're in California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and a couple other states, I think it's like Montana or something like that, we follow what's called the sunset zone, and it gives us the best idea of what we can actually grow. And I can grow a lot of things that say up to a zone 7 because they fall in my sunset zone, and the sunset zone takes into account a lot of different things. It goes like really close into zip codes. It breaks zip codes down, and I am sunset zone 9. I'm also USDA growing zone 9. And so the birch trees, I can totally grow them because they grow well in my sunset zone, which is really cool. I wish that they did sunset zones for everywhere rather than the USDA growing zone, because the USDA growing zone just takes into how cold you get, where the sunset zone takes in humidity, it takes in daylight hours, it takes in everything possible, and it gives you your best zone. So there's up to 24 zones, I think is what it is. So the European white birch, they grow really well here. We actually have a whole bunch at our post office. I've got 2 that have been successful on our property. I have some neighbors that grow them. We have a grove in one of the towns closest to us. They've got a whole like little grove of them. So they grow really well here if you have the space to grow them. They are just very water hungry. Just to be warned. The next question on that video is from Cynthia, and she had said, do you not find that birch trees drop a lot of branches? I have a river birch and it is constantly dropping twigs and branches. I don't find that, so I have the European white birch, and I don't find that they drop a lot of them. I know river birch are quite messy. What I do find is like the seed pods, they make a huge mess everywhere, and then all the leaves fall like a normal tree. As far as branches go, my willow tree drops a ton of little tiny twigs. The willow tree is extremely messy. The birch trees are like zero mess compared to that thing. The next question on that video is from Nancy, and she had said, great selection. I need to plant a tree or 2 in my backyard, but I have no clue what to do. I rent, so there's that. Any suggestions? You can grow them in containers. I love to grow trees in containers. You can get things that stay a little bit dwarf, and you'll have to fertilize more often. But if you're wanting to grow something that's big, get the biggest container that you can possibly find and plant a tree in there. If you want something for privacy that grows quick, do the hopseed bush if you're in a warmer zone like I am. That thing grows quick, it fills out, and you could definitely grow it in a container for years to come. I think as long as you're fertilizing it and as long as the container is big enough, don't get a container that's this big. You need to get a big container, the biggest container you can possibly find. And then I would definitely raise it up off of the ground a little bit, because otherwise what's going to happen is that root is going to grow through your drain plug and it's going to grow into the soil. And then basically you've got a tree in the ground, which is not what you're wanting to do if you rent. So I would put it in a container as big as you can possibly find, invest in a container, and get that thing raised up, place a couple bricks underneath there, fill it all the way up with soil. Don't do that thing where people put plastic bottles at the bottom or gravel at the bottom to save money on soil. Fill the thing up, fill it all the way up with soil, and keep it topped up with soil and constantly be fertilizing that thing, because it's not going to get any fertilizer unless you feed it. So make sure that in containers you are feeding your trees. The next question on that video is from Yolanda, and she had said, I know you'll say it's not a dumb question, but what are liners? Please explain. It's definitely not a dumb question. When I came back, I gave him the footage and he edited that video, and he's like, you should have explained it. I was like, I should have definitely explained it. Liners are just basically little starts of plants. So it's where the plants, they start out in, it's called a liner or a plug. And so it starts out very, very small, and then they pot it up to like the 1 gallon size containers or whatever it's going to be potted up into. So it's just the start of the plant. The next question on that video is from Sydney, and she had said, great video and awesome info on the bare root trees. I love where the white birch are planted. Adds so much interest to the backyard. Will you be painting the trunk of the crabapple? I probably won't be painting it. I really don't like that look, but what I will be doing is I will be putting a systemic on there. So with borers, best practice is to paint the trunk of your trees. I'm just not going to do it. I was talking to Kate about it, and she had said that what happens is that they really don't like the light that reflects from the white, and so it really throws them off. Their eyes, I guess, are super sensitive to it, and it just gets really bright. So they disappear, they leave, and they don't bother that tree because of how bright that white paint is. And you can buy paint for trees, or you can also buy a latex paint and just water it down and do kind of a like whitewash on your tree. The next question on that video is from Kathleen, and she had said, Robbie, question, why are you planting the crabapple 2.5 feet from the fence when it's going to get 20 feet wide? So it's going to get about 15 to 20 feet wide. And so with that, the trunk of the tree is not going to be about 15 to 20 feet wide. The canopy will be about 15 to 20 feet wide. And so the trunk doesn't need all that space. So I'm planting it that far away from the fence because I want it to grow up and I want it to reach the fence and like fill out that entire area. So what'll happen is it'll go from the trunk, it's going to go 10 feet to the left, 10 feet to the right. That was opposite, 10 feet to the left, 10 feet to the right, and it'll totally just fill out that entire space. If I had spaced it 10 feet away from the fence, the edge of the canopy would just be touching the fence, and the canopy will be higher than the fence, so it just wouldn't look right. So we are positioning it there so that way it really covers the entire shed that we have there. And if we need to keep it pruned up, I'll probably keep it I'm gonna probably keep that limbed up quite a bit. I really don't want it to reach the full 20 feet ever. And the last question on that video is from Judy, and she had said, Robbie, did you face the graft north? And if you watched that video, Kate, when I was grabbing a container, she had said, make sure that you plant your graft facing north. And my graft is facing north, but I do think I'm gonna move it so that way it's facing like northeast. Just because the way that the fence is, it's going to block it from morning sun. But the way that the sun is coming in at the very end of the day, it will hit the side of the graft. So I do think I'm going to just slightly rotate it so that way the graft is fully protected, especially from that hot afternoon sun. And the next video that we did was project update and a little winter planting, and we got the woolly grevillea and some snapdragons planted, and I gave you guys an update on where the project was at. First question on that video is from Shelly, and she had said, love the idea of a fireplace. If you needed something before it's built, would a chimenea also work? Also, I've never had a sprinkler system before. Can you show a little of how that works? I was surprised to see them in the corner. Does that mean that you can direct the spray for each nozzle? Thanks for sharing your amazing project. So I think what we were gonna do is I originally wanted to build like a brick fireplace, and I really wanted it to be like spectacular. And I had somebody come out and give us a quote, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if he just didn't want to do it. I'm waiting for quotes from a couple other people, but the one guy, I was like, can you give me like a ballpark just so I know kind of where we're sitting on this? And he's like, yeah, you're probably looking at like 10 grand just for the fireplace. I about died. If the other quotes come back about the same price range, we won't be having a brick fireplace. And we'll probably just do, I found a Corten steel one that I really like it, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. I really want a fireplace. And the Corten steel one that I found is about $2,000. It's from Terrain. I'll pop a picture up here. And it's the new style that they have. I really loved the style that they had a couple years ago. I should have just bought it then. I just wasn't financially in a place to be able to buy it. I'm still probably not in a place financially to just drop 2 grand on a fireplace. But I don't know. I'm still gonna look. I want the old version of the Terrain fireplace, and the new one, it's pretty. It's just not 100% what I want, but I'm not finding anything else like what I'm envisioning. And then as far as sprinklers go, everyone here, if you've got lawn, you have to have sprinklers, or you have to make sure that you're going out every day during the summer months and you're running a like fan sprinkler. And for in-ground irrigation, you can direct the corners of them. So you can put them in the corner and they can do like a 25 degree, you can do a 90 degree, you can do a 180 degrees. You can basically control them. You just buy the certain heads that you want, and then you can slightly adjust those just with a little screwdriver on the top. The next question on that video is from Darlene, and she had said, Robbie, the woolly grevillea is beautiful, but because of its trailing habit, wouldn't it be better in a tall pot? I do think it definitely has trailing habit because it spreads. It gets about 4 feet wide, I think it is, or something like that, and like 3 feet tall. So it definitely wants to grow out, and I think in a container, it definitely would be like a beautiful trailer if you had it up on a pedestal. It would definitely grow like down and weep. I think it would be gorgeous, but I also think it's gonna be pretty just in the landscape. And the last question on that video is from Sydney, and she had said, it's so exciting, I had a question. I know you and Brent are planning on moving. How do you go about in renovating, creating a garden that is temporary for you? I personally garden in my parents' backyard, and it had made me feel like I'm doing everything for nothing, which made me very impatient since I'm on a time limit. To complete the garden and enjoy everything, since they take 3 years to leap, would love to hear your thoughts. I totally get that, especially because like some of these things that I'm planting and some of the things that I do have coming will be taking years for us to be able to actually enjoy them. So I can totally relate with you on that. And I have a hard time when people ask me to come do their gardens for them, because people ask all the time, like, hey, when you run out of space, if you want to come work in my garden, because I feel like I'm doing absolutely everything for nothing. And I want to be able to enjoy the garden. If I'm going to spend a whole day of labor, I want to be the one to enjoy it. I mean, you are living with your parents, it sounds like, and so I think that at least you're getting to enjoy it, but I could definitely see how it would be hard to do a garden that is so temporary. I do think that with your parents, you'll be able to at least go back and enjoy this garden. So I think for you, I would just take everything as a learning curve. I would be like, you know what, we're just gonna practice here. This is gonna be the practice garden, so when you get your space, you'll be able to know exactly what you do like in the garden, what you don't like in the garden. And if there's something you're like, oh, I hate that. Good thing it's not in my garden and I don't have to rip it out now. Your parents have to deal with it. So I think that switch your mindset on this with, this is going to be a great place for you to be able to practice gardening and learn what you love, what you don't love. Maybe, I mean, like the last 3 years of me gardening on this property has been me learning what I love, what I don't love. And now I'm having to start over in our garden. And with that, I will also say that we had planned to want to move in about a year's time. And I think with me quitting my job doing hair, we have decided to just delay that and just take that off the table for the time being. So that way we can just kind of focus on this and we can go slow. And I don't have to feel the pressure because we still need to do a kitchen remodel and I want to get the backyard finished. And I just don't think a year is going to be enough time with just YouTube income. I don't think there would be enough money to do all of that. There wouldn't be enough money to do all of that. And plus, we've been finding places here, and everything that we find, I mean, we're looking to spend minimum $1 million. and $1 million no longer goes as far as it should go, which is insane. We want a couple acres here. And with that, I mean, we would basically be buying a house that needs so much work, a complete renovation on a house and 5 acres, and spend $1 million and a mortgage with what interest rates are. We're looking at about $6,500 a month. And I think that that is absolutely terrifying to have a $6,500 a month mortgage when you basically are buying something that needs to be torn down. So we're taking it off the table, and we're just going to give it a couple more years, and we're just going to slow down, and we're going to just enjoy the process here, and I'm going to treat this as though it is my forever home. I'm not afraid to, we bought this house at a really good spot, and so I'm not afraid to lose money or do projects that are not increasing the value of it. I'm doing it for me. All of these projects that I'm doing for me. When we sell our house, we will be able to make a profit no matter what on it. So I don't want to have to do everything with the mindset of, oh, we're moving, I shouldn't do that, because if I'm going to be here for at least a year, I want to be able to enjoy everything that I'm doing. So, and I want to enjoy the process after, even if it's just for a month or if it's for 5 more years. So we are not moving anymore, which is kind of sad because we definitely have outgrown this home. We have 2 bedrooms here, and we have people that stay all the time. And the spare bedroom is also the office, and it's the spare room, and it's the storage room. We have 0 storage in this house, and so we're just taking it off the table because right here, we are in a place where we don't have to stress super financially. And the last video for the week was lots of progress on the backyard overhaul. We rented the rototiller and we dug down and we started to get our paths all like squared away. And I think for a lot of you guys, you were actually able to see the vision starting to come to life. I know for Brent, he's not somebody who can just like envision things. And so to be able to see where the pathways actually are, for him, it really helped him. And I think a lot of you guys are kind of that same way, where like for me, it's so weird. I can literally see things like coming alive. I can see the tree and I can see the metal edging and I can see the walkways and I can actually see it. And so I know Brent's not that way. And so when things actually start to happen, then he's like, oh, okay, now I understand what's actually happening. The first question on that video is from Fabric and Flowers, and they had said, dumb question, if you rototill grasses, will it come back? I want to make flower beds by eliminating grasses, but digging it up is a pain. Okay, so if you have just grass, it's probably not going to come back because you're disturbing the root system on it. You'll probably get some that'll come back just because there's been seeds that have happened and new seeds are going to drop down. There's always going to be weeds that come up. If you have Bermuda grass, yes, it's 100% going to keep coming back. Normal grass, probably not. Or if it does come back, it's going to be very limited. So you can definitely rototill. We are definitely going to be dealing with Bermuda grass. It's going to be a lot of hand pulling, but what this did was it broke it up and it made the ground a little bit looser, and it's going to make it a lot easier when these new pieces do come up to just pull them and keep on top of them. The next question on that video was from Glenda, and she had said, why did you not consider the no-dig method? You would have saved a lot of time and money. I was exhausted watching you. We're going to be doing the no-dig method in the jelly bean area, so I will be doing cardboard in that. I'm going to stack it up with cardboard. I want that thick, and then we're going to put soil on top of that. I think we're going to do about 10 inches of like good compost, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start planting that, and then we will go with mulch on top of that. So in the jelly bean areas, we're going to do that. In the walkways, I think we're going to do landscape fabric down, and then we're going to do aggregate base, and then we're going to do some like very small gravel on top of that. I want it to have a very like cool look. I don't want it to have a warm look to it. The next question on that video is from Trish, and she had said, I want to order the edging. Do you have a link that gives you credit? Also, I wish you were my neighbor. I would have loaned you all the equipment you use. Oh, Trish, you angel. Okay, so I do have a link. I'll put it in the description of this video. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just make it be a permanent link in my videos because it's going to be in a ton of videos coming up. They have shipped out, or they're getting ready to ship out my order for all of my metal edging. So there's going to be a lot of videos with metal edging on it. So I'm going to make sure that it's got a permanent spot in all of my description of my videos. If you guys use it, I do earn a commission on it, and that alone helps the channel out so much, and it helps EdgeRight know that them working with me is actually paying off for them to like send me all this metal edging. The next question on that video is from Christy, and she had said, I'm seeing your vision. So exciting to see the changes you and Brent are making. Question, Will the elevation for the new path walkway interfere with the stones to the door? We'll find out together. I'm really hoping it doesn't. If anything, it just might be a little bit lower. We'll find out together. If I have to lift those stones up and just raise them up a little tiny bit, it won't be the end of the world. It'll actually be very easy because they're not set into anything. This is a learning curve. And the last question for the week is from It's Garden Time, and they had said, "Hey Robbie, what do you think about planting something evergreen in front of the electric bolt? Something skinny and tall so it can cover it from the patio view. Maybe a blue arrow. Hope it's okay to suggest things like that." It is definitely okay to suggest things like that. And the way you suggested it, fabulous. There are definitely times that people suggest things and I get my feelings hurt because I'm reading it and someone's not actually saying it, and so I'm probably reading it out of context. But actually Isley just confirmed my order with them, and so I've got a whole bunch of trees that are going to be coming here pretty soon. I don't know the exact date when they're going to be coming, but I'm so excited to show you guys these trees. I don't know what size they're sending, so we could be getting some small trees, but we'll see. I'm hoping that they're sending some like decent sized trees, but that whole area is going to be lots of trees. Lots of evergreens. I want to create a wall. I want to create a screen right there. I think it's going to be super gorgeous, but I definitely will be planting something to hide that power pole, some type of evergreen. It desperately needs it. So keep suggesting things because I learned so much from you guys, and you guys have ideas that I don't think of. So if you have an idea, suggest away. Just please do it kindly because sometimes I'm a little sensitive. All right, you guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the videos that are coming this week. I think there's some really good ones, and I think that we're gonna do some plant shopping, and we're gonna get some things planted, and it's gonna be a good time. Oh, I planted the snapdragons. There was somebody who made a comment about the snapdragons. We didn't pull it. I'm gonna answer it. I don't remember what they said or who said what, but it was something about, there was actually a few people who chimed in about snapdragons when I planted the Madame Butterfly ones, how I called them an annual, but they do come back, and they come back for a lot of other people. I have always pulled them. I didn't realize that they come back because my grandparents and my parents always pulled them. And I just thought, okay, they're an annual. That's it. So I think what I'm going to try to do this year is winter them over. So I'm going to let them grow. Usually they like really poop out for us in the heat of the summer, and like really they stop producing and they look rough. So we're gonna see peak of summer how they do, and then if I can winter them over, because it would be so cool to be able to winter over snapdragons. So to all of you that suggested that, I think there was 3 or 4 of you, and I don't know why that question didn't get pulled in. What we do is we go to this like tab that says questions from the video, and sometimes it misses questions. So to all of you that suggested that, we're gonna try that this year. And that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys for visiting our garden, the inside of our house. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.